knee internal rotation isometric hold for connective tissue architecture. We're going to be doing this with a band. You can do it without a band, so just use your hand instead of a band. Actually, I'll just quickly show you for my hand. I'll just sit on the floor here. I'm going to go to internal rotation, keep active dorsiflexion, pop my hand over the top, my other hand comes underneath, grabs my forearm, and I just actually pull in this way to get a little bit of an internal rotation stretch in my knee. Be very, very cautious here. If you go too hard, you can actually hurt yourself. This is literally a submission in jiu-jitsu that we do want people to hurt their knees. The other thing to be careful of is just to make sure that as you do this, you're really actively pulling into dorsiflexion, because one, if you don't and your foot comes out this way, you can actually hurt the outside of your ankle here, and there's some, like the ATFL, some ligaments in there that you can stretch and hurt. But also, you're pulling on this to get force up here, to get rotation in the knee. So if this is loose, you're actually just pulling it on your ankle and not your knee anyway. So this has got to be solid so that the force you put through your foot comes up to here anyway. So this is the position that you would do it if you're using your hands instead of a band. But we're going to do it with a band. So all I'm going to do, I've got a band wrapped around an anchor point here. And what I am going to do is I'm just going to make a little loop with the band, pop the band around my foot, and I'm not going to make it tight per se, but just enough so the band doesn't come off. And I now want to get to an internal rotation position. Your program's probably going to tell you to do, I don't know, 20, 30, 40%, whatever to start with. Obviously, look at your program. So what I want to do is I'm going to pull into active internal rotation, and then I'm just going to move my foot out until I get to a point where the resistance on the band is equal to me holding at about, say, 30 to 40%, if that's your program, to hold it there, if that makes sense. So you're literally just going to sit here for 2 minutes, and that's it. 2-minute load on the external side of your knee whilst you're in this full max rotation is going to increase the quality of your connective tissue. We only want to do this at the intensities that you're told. If you go too hard, it's not necessarily that it's bad, you're not necessarily going to hurt yourself, you're just going to get different adaptation, and that's not what we want. So we're going to do this for a period of 2 minutes. Now, when you first start, what you'll find is this tissue is probably going to fatigue pretty quick. You're not going to be able to make 2 minutes, even though 30 or 40% seems easy when you start. You probably get to 20 seconds or 30 seconds and feel this fatigue. Your body will let your knee come in, so now you're not really in this rotation anymore. If that's the case, if you feel it fatigue, then take a rest. Don't come out of the stretch. The way you take the rest is you just pop your hand there to help your knee. And just hold it there for as long as you need. And then when you're ready to go again, very, very slowly take your hand away. Boom. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you last 30 seconds and then you're fatigued and you have a bit of a rest. Then you go again. Then you're going to do that 4 times, because I just want you to accumulate 4 minutes worth of work. So not 4 minutes, sorry, 2 minutes worth of work. So if you can do it for 2 minutes in one go, great. If you can do it at 30-second lots, it'll probably take you 3.5 minutes. Your goal as you progress through this is to do it for longer periods of time and get to the point where you're doing it for 2 minutes. But that's it. So just make sure that the band is at about 90 degrees to your foot here. If I'm kind of rotating around here, it's not really doing anything because my foot's sort of pointing where the band is going. So we're over here. And once again, obviously, make sure that the knee stays out, because this will happen as you fatigue. Your body will just cheat for you. Now, you may progress as you go through the program to get some, what we call HIMAs, holding isometrics, which is kind of what we're doing anyway, but for reactive strengths. We're trying to teach the tissue to be able to absorb force a little bit faster and create stiffness, which is super, super important thing. So if that's the case, you'll get sort of a ratio, work to rest ratio, say 3-to-1 or 5-to-1 to start. So all that means is, this is me working. If I put my hand there, I'm just having a bit of a rest. So let's say I've got a 5-to-1 work to rest ratio. I'll count 5 seconds here, and then I'll just put my hand on there to take a bit of load there for a second, and then take it away. Hold for 5, help with my hand for 1, hold for 5, you're done. However, when you first start, you'll probably have you'll have a ramping up period of 1 second, more than likely, to that 30 or 40%. So we're still only doing 30 to 40%. I'm actually going to move it's starting to add up now. So what that means, you do your work period for 5 seconds, hold your hand there for 1 second for rest, and then rather than just taking your hand off, you just take your hand off over the space of a second. So we're teaching the tissue to absorb the force over the space of a second. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm over here. So this is, obviously I'm taking the load. So 3, 2, 1, pop my hand on there for 1 second, and then over the space of a second, take my hand away. Hold here for 5, put my hand there for 1, and over the space of a second, come out. Your progression for this, which will be in your program, is to don't have a ramp up, just go 5, 1, 5, 1. So it'll be, say, 5 seconds here, 1 second there, and then my hand just comes away straight away. Say that's 5 seconds, hold for 1, boom. What I don't want you to do is when you're holding for 1 is like really push it, because now you're out. So then when you let go, you'll start absorbing force really fast with catches and stuff. And we can progress to that. You may progress to that into your work, but do not do that when you first start. Stay in the position. You're just taking a bit of the load with the hand, and then you're taking it away quickly, but it stays in place. So then, yeah, enjoy your new knees. Hopefully they feel like mine do now at the end of that.